Have you ever wondered if a fleeting moment of dizziness, numbness, or confusion could be a sign of something much more serious? What if I told you that these short-lived symptoms could be a red flag for a mini-stroke or TIA, and that ignoring them could put you at risk for a major stroke? In this video, we're diving into a topic that could save your life or the life of a loved one. How to recognize the warning signs of a TIA before it's too late. You'll learn the crucial signs that most people overlook, like sudden weakness, vision changes, or difficulty speaking. These signs may seem minor, but they can lead to a life-altering stroke if not addressed immediately. Why is this so important? Because 1 in 5 people who experience a TIA will suffer a major stroke within just 90 days, and the elderly are especially vulnerable. We'll also share key prevention strategies, including lifestyle changes, medical treatments, and ways you can reduce your risk of a stroke by managing underlying conditions like high blood pressure or diabetes. So, stick with us until the end of this video, because knowing these signs could be the difference between life and death. You'll learn how to take quick action, what steps to take if you or someone you know experiences these symptoms, and how early intervention can significantly lower the risk of permanent damage. Don't wait for a stroke to strike. Watch this video now and arm yourself with the knowledge to protect your health and the health of your loved ones. If you are not subscribed, I recommend subscribing and activating the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support means a lot to me, and if you enjoyed this video, you can help me continue spreading the valuable lessons by liking and sharing it. If you like the topic of this video, please comment 1. If you don't, please comment 0 to let me know how I can improve and make better videos for you. Now, let's begin. What is a mini-stroke, TIA? A mini-stroke, medically referred to as a transient ischemic attack, TIA, is a fleeting, yet significant event where blood flow to the brain is briefly interrupted. It's like your body's way of sounding an alarm. A temporary blockage restricts oxygen to the brain, but the effects are usually short-lived. These episodes typically last anywhere from a few minutes to a couple of hours, and the symptoms often resolve on their own, leaving no permanent damage. It's easy to feel a sense of relief when things go back to normal, but this shouldn't lull you into complacency. Unlike a full stroke, which can lead to long-term brain damage, disability, or even death, a TIA is more like a wake-up call, a warning sign that something far more dangerous could be lurking. Imagine a red flag, waving frantically in front of you, urging you to act quickly, before things escalate. Though the immediate impact of a TIA might not leave lasting consequences, the risk it poses for future strokes is very real, making it something that demands attention. The key difference between a TIA and a stroke is that while a stroke causes irreversible damage to the brain, a TIA, for the most part, doesn't. Still, don't be deceived by its fleeting nature. Studies reveal that TIAs are more common among older adults, especially those over 65, with nearly 15% of people in this age group experiencing one during their lifetime. These numbers aren't just statistics. They represent real people, loved ones, and friends, facing a wake-up call they may not even realize is happening. Recognizing a TIA as a signal, something to take seriously, is crucial. It's a moment where time becomes precious, where immediate action can make all the difference in preventing a more serious, potentially life-altering stroke. It's not just about treating the event itself, but about safeguarding your future. So, if you or someone you love experiences symptoms like sudden numbness, confusion, or difficulty speaking, don't hesitate. Get medical attention immediately. In the grand scheme of life, a few hours could mean the difference between temporary discomfort and irreversible consequences. Why recognizing many strokes is crucial. Recognizing a mini-stroke or transient ischemic attack, TIA, is more than just important. It is essential for your health and well-being. The reality is that a TIA is often a warning sign, a precursor to a major stroke that could alter the course of your life forever. Studies have shown that about 1 in 3 individuals who suffer a TIA will eventually experience a full-blown stroke. The truth is that nearly half of these strokes occur within the first 2 days after the TIA. This is why you cannot afford to take the symptoms lightly. It's your body's desperate attempt to send up a red flag, to cry out, something is wrong. Ignoring these signs doesn't just put your health at risk, it can lead to devastating consequences. If left unchecked, a major stroke can lead to severe neurological damage, life-altering disabilities such as paralysis, the inability to speak, and in some tragic cases, even death. Imagine losing your ability to move freely, to speak to your loved ones, to enjoy the simple pleasures of life. It's unimaginable for many, yet it's a very real threat for those who overlook the signs of a TIA. But here's the silver lining. The good news is that if a TIA is caught early enough, you have the opportunity to stop the progression before it's too late. Recognizing these early signs can mean everything. It gives doctors the chance to intervene and take action, whether through medication, lifestyle adjustments, or procedures that can dramatically reduce the risk of a major stroke. It's not just a matter of avoiding a catastrophic event. It's about preserving your quality of life. When you act quickly and decisively, you're not just preventing the worst-case scenario, you're safeguarding your future, ensuring that you can continue to live life to its fullest. In those critical moments, recognizing the signs of a TIA and seeking help is nothing short of life-saving. It's the difference between a future full of hope and one overshadowed by irreversible consequences. The 8 warning signs of many strokes in the elderly. Number 1. Sudden weakness or numbness. The first and perhaps most alarming warning sign of a mini-stroke or transient ischemic attack, TIA, is the sudden onset of weakness or numbness, often occurring on just one side of the body. It's an unsettling sensation that can strike without warning, leaving you wondering if it's just a momentary discomfort or something more serious. This can affect various parts of your body. Maybe your face droops slightly, or perhaps your arm feels too heavy to lift, as if it's disconnected from you. Sometimes it's a tingling sensation running down your leg, a feeling so strange and sudden that it might leave you frozen in place, unsure of what's happening. These sensations may last only a few minutes or even up to an hour, but here's the crucial part: never dismiss them. Even if they pass quickly, they are a sign that something isn't right, and your body is trying to get your attention. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 1 below to let me know that you are still here with me. Why does this happen? At its core, it's a disruption in your blood flow. When a mini-stroke occurs, a blood vessel in your brain becomes temporarily blocked or narrowed, cutting off the vital oxygen and nutrients that the brain needs to function properly. This can affect the areas of your brain responsible for motor skills or sensation, often on one side of your body, causing that alarming numbness or weakness. But, and this is the silver lining, these symptoms tend to be temporary. The blockage is brief, and blood flow returns to normal before any permanent damage can occur. Still, the message is clear. Your brain is sending out a desperate cry for help, warning you that a larger stroke could be looming on the horizon. In moments like this, it's impossible to ignore the gravity of the situation. While it might be easy to brush off these fleeting symptoms as a passing inconvenience, the truth is that this temporary weakness or numbness could be the difference between a life-changing event and a near miss. It's a call to action, a chance to intervene, to seek immediate medical help before things worsen. It's a reminder that our bodies are so intricately connected, and even the smallest signals can reveal something profound about our health. This isn't something you should ever take lightly. Recognizing and responding to this warning sign could not only save your life but spare you from the devastating effects of a full-blown stroke that could leave long-lasting, permanent damage. Listen to your body, because this isn't just a minor inconvenience, it's a message that you cannot afford to ignore. Number 2. Temporary vision changes. One of the most alarming and often overlooked signs of a mini-stroke, especially in the elderly, is sudden, unexplained changes in vision. This could range from blurry eyesight to double vision, or even a complete temporary blindness in one or both eyes. These changes, though brief in many cases, should never be dismissed lightly. They are not just an inconvenience or a simple mistake of the eyes. These episodes are a strong signal that something is going wrong inside the body, disrupting the blood flow to the brain, or the areas responsible for our vision. A particular condition tied to many strokes is called amaurosis fugax, a temporary and partial loss of vision, often affecting just one eye. Imagine, for a moment, the sudden experience of seeing a shadow or curtain fall over your eye. It's a terrifying sensation that can last anywhere from a few seconds to several minutes, only to fade away, leaving you unsettled and uncertain. This condition is a warning, a cry from your body that the flow of blood and oxygen to your retina, the part of the eye that processes images, has been blocked, possibly by a clot or a narrowing of the blood vessels. And the frightening truth is, it's often a precursor to a much larger, more devastating stroke. It's incredibly important to realize that these vision changes are not just random accidents. They are the result of a disruption in the oxygen and nutrient supply to critical areas of the brain and the eyes. If you or someone you love experiences these sudden vision changes, do not simply brush it off as mere tiredness, eye strain, or something that will just pass. These moments are your body's desperate attempt to warn you of a serious underlying issue. I know how easy it is to downplay these signs, to hope that they'll simply go away, but that kind of thinking can be dangerous. Please, take it seriously. Seek medical attention immediately. In my opinion, responding quickly and decisively could be the difference between a life-saving intervention and the devastating consequences of a full-blown stroke. Protect your health, protect your loved ones, and never hesitate to seek help when something feels wrong. Time is precious, and the earlier we act, the more likely we are to avoid irreversible damage. Number 3. Difficulty speaking or slurred speech. The ability to communicate is one of the most powerful tools we have as humans, so when something disrupts that, especially something as vital as speech, it can be both frightening and disorienting. Difficulty speaking or slurred speech is one of the major warning signs of a mini-stroke, also known as a transient ischemic attack, TIA, and it's one that often takes people by surprise. It's not just about mixing up words or losing your train of thought. It can feel like the very foundation of your communication is slipping through your fingers. The words might seem to get stuck, as though they're trapped in your mind, and no matter how hard you try, they refuse to come out clearly. For others, it might manifest as slurring, stuttering, or even struggling to understand simple conversations. It's as if your mind and mouth are no longer in sync, and that disconnect is unsettling. This can often be linked to a condition called aphasia, a temporary inability to process or express language that occurs when the blood flow to the areas of the brain responsible for speech and comprehension is interrupted. It's a terrifying experience for anyone who has ever gone through it because you feel like your mind is still sharp, but your body can't quite keep up with it. You might feel as though you're watching yourself from a distance, unable to reach out and make the words form the way you want them to. The sense of helplessness is profound. Even if these symptoms last only a few minutes, they can be the clearest indication that something is wrong. A mini-stroke, no matter how brief, can disrupt the brain and leave you struggling to express yourself. The impact on your ability to communicate isn't something to take lightly. Others around you might notice the slurring or garbled speech, and you may find it hard to even follow what they are saying as if you're in a fog, disconnected from the conversation. These moments can feel incredibly isolating, and it's easy to dismiss them as just stress or fatigue. But that's exactly where the danger lies. TIAs are not trivial, and they are far from harmless. They serve as a glaring warning that a larger, more debilitating stroke could be lurking, ready to cause permanent damage to your speech and comprehension. In those moments, don't hesitate to act. Don't convince yourself that it will just pass or that it's something that will simply go away on its own. Time is your greatest ally when it comes to stroke prevention, and seeking medical attention immediately could be the difference between regaining full function and suffering from lasting impairment. Every second counts, and it's not something to take lightly. If you or someone you know experiences these sudden speech difficulties, please don't wait. Reach out for help right away. Early intervention could change everything. Your ability to communicate is too precious to ignore, and with swift action, you can prevent a far more serious situation from developing. Number 4. Sudden confusion. Sudden confusion can be one of the most alarming signs of a mini-stroke, and yet it is so easily overlooked or misunderstood. Often dismissed as something benign like stress, fatigue, or the early onset of dementia, it can quietly signal a far more serious issue that demands immediate attention. When it hits, it feels like your mind suddenly slips away from you. You may find yourself struggling to focus, feeling lost or disoriented, and unable to recall even the simplest of details that would normally come easily to you. You might stare at your surroundings, unsure of where you are or what you are supposed to be doing. This mental fog, this blankness, is deeply unsettling, and for good reason. It occurs because a mini-stroke, also known as a transient ischemic attack, TIA, disrupts the flow of blood to the parts of your brain that handle thinking, memory, and problem-solving. What makes it so insidious is that the symptoms often only last a few minutes to an hour. While it may seem like just a passing moment of forgetfulness or mental strain, these brief episodes can be a warning from your body, signaling that something far more dangerous is unfolding within. What breaks my heart is how often this warning is dismissed, especially in older adults. Too many times, people chalk it up to just aging or a simple memory lapse. In doing so, they risk delaying the medical attention that could prevent a far more devastating event. This is not just about getting older. This is your brain crying out for help. The key difference between sudden confusion from a mini-stroke and the gradual onset of dementia is that a TIA happens suddenly, like a lightning bolt of disorientation that disrupts your normal mental flow. It is temporary, but it is a clear and urgent signal that your brain isn't receiving the blood it so desperately needs. If you ignore it, you are putting yourself at a greater risk of a full-blown stroke, which can lead to permanent damage that can affect your cognitive abilities, memory, and independence. And trust me, nothing is more terrifying than the idea that this fleeting moment of confusion could become something irreversible. If you or someone you love experiences this, please don't hesitate, don't second-guess it. Get medical help immediately. Your brain, your mind, and your future well-being depend on it. You deserve to take every step necessary to protect yourself from the devastating consequences of ignoring these warning signs. Number 5. Dizziness or loss of balance. Dizziness or a sudden loss of balance is an incredibly alarming symptom, often signaling a mini-stroke or TIA, transient ischemic attack. It can feel like the very ground beneath you is giving way, or that the room is spinning uncontrollably, leaving you lightheaded and vulnerable. For many older adults, this sensation might seem like nothing more than the aftermath of a long day or a sign of something more benign, such as dehydration, low blood sugar, or even a common inner ear issue like vertigo. However, this is where things become truly concerning. The sensation of dizziness from a TIA is far more serious than a minor balance disruption caused by something as simple as a slight change in diet or a sleep cycle. When an inner ear problem causes balance issues, it's usually a disruption of signals between your ear and brain. It can often be corrected, and the symptoms tend to pass, but with dizziness related to a TIA, there is an entirely different, much more frightening cause. The blood flow to parts of the brain responsible for coordination and balance becomes temporarily blocked or reduced, and when the brain isn't receiving enough oxygen, it begins to send distress signals. This can result in sudden, unexplained dizziness or a feeling of unsteadiness that can hit you without warning. The emotional weight of this symptom is not to be underestimated. For someone experiencing it, the feeling of being on the edge, like you could lose your footing or control at any moment, is deeply unsettling. It's more than just physical discomfort. It's a loss of confidence, a fear of falling, of losing control over your own body. For the person witnessing this, the helplessness is just as intense. You may not always know what's happening, and the uncertainty can be overwhelming. The scariest part is that dizziness related to a TIA often doesn't last long, but it's not harmless. It's a clear warning sign. Your brain is not getting the oxygen it needs to function properly. And while the dizziness may dissipate quickly, the risk remains. If this sudden dizziness is accompanied by other symptoms, such as numbness, changes in vision, or difficulty speaking, it's vital to understand that these aren't just random occurrences. They are cries for help from your body and brain. These episodes are your warning, a signal that something is wrong and that immediate medical attention is essential. As someone who has witnessed loved ones grapple with aging and its challenges, I can't help but feel a deep sense of urgency when I think about how easily these symptoms can be dismissed or misunderstood. Don't wait. Don't ignore it. These moments of dizziness or balance loss may seem fleeting, but they can be life-saving messages that shouldn't be taken lightly. They could be the difference between a near miss and a potentially devastating stroke. Your health, your life, and the life of someone you love are far too precious to leave to chance. When in doubt, reach out for medical help. It could prevent something far more serious from happening down the road. Number 6. Severe headaches. Severe headaches, though not the most common symptom of a mini-stroke or TIA, transient ischemic attack, can certainly occur in some cases. They may not always be the first sign, but when they do happen, they can feel distinctly different from any regular headache you've experienced before. They often come on suddenly, with an intensity that seems to hit like a wave, unlike the dull, nagging pressure of a tension headache or the pulsating pain of a migraine. Instead, these headaches are sharp, intense, and unusual, leaving a person feeling uneasy and alarmed. It's a pain that doesn't feel like the typical daily discomforts. It's foreign, as if your body is warning you of something much deeper at play. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 2 below to let me know that you are still here with me. So, why does this happen during a TIA? The cause lies in a temporary blockage in one of the blood vessels in the brain, which creates a ripple effect of pressure changes and irritation within the vascular system. The blood flow is altered, and as a result, these sudden changes can trigger a headache that's unlike any other. While TIAs themselves typically don't result in permanent damage to the brain, the vascular stress they cause can be enough to bring about these sudden and perplexing headaches. It's as if your body, amid this temporary blockage, is throwing up a red flag, an alert to tell you that something is wrong, even though the storm may pass. It's crucial to differentiate between a regular headache and one that's part of a TIA. This is not just a headache, it's a signal. It often comes with additional, more concerning symptoms: dizziness, vision disturbances, slurred speech, or even numbness in certain parts of the body. When these signs accompany the headache, it's not just a passing discomfort, but a clear warning that something more serious may be happening inside. These combined symptoms should never be ignored. They are not just a bad headache that will go away on its own. No, these are signs that could point toward a larger issue, like a stroke, brewing just under the surface. For elderly individuals, especially those who may already be facing several health challenges, a sudden, severe headache is not something to brush off as just part of aging or normal. If it's paired with other neurological symptoms, it could be a sign that a TIA, or even a larger stroke, is in progress. The importance of acting quickly cannot be overstated. Getting immediate medical attention in such cases isn't just important, it could be life-saving. Taking swift action can prevent further brain damage and long-term complications, and possibly save you from a future filled with lasting disabilities. Don't hesitate. You deserve the chance to live without the looming threat of preventable damage, and taking that step could mean the difference between recovery and irreversible harm. Please, listen to your body when it speaks up with these sudden, severe signals. Your life is too valuable to ignore such calls for help. Number 7. Brief loss of consciousness. A brief loss of consciousness, whether it's a sudden fainting spell or an overwhelming wave of drowsiness that leaves you feeling weak or disoriented, is more than just an inconvenient episode. It can be a subtle but dangerous warning sign of a mini-stroke or transient ischemic attack, TIA. It's incredibly tempting to shrug off these moments, attributing them to dehydration, low blood sugar, or even the exhaustion that so often comes with aging. However, beneath the surface of these seemingly harmless incidents, there could be something far more serious unfolding: a temporary disruption in the delicate flow of blood to your brain. The brain is an extraordinarily complex organ, relying on a constant and steady supply of oxygen and nutrients delivered through the blood. When this flow is even momentarily interrupted, the effects can be startling. You might feel lightheaded, weak, or, in the worst case, lose consciousness entirely. And while these feelings may pass, it's a sign that something deeper and more concerning is happening. When a TIA occurs, a temporary blockage or narrowing in one of the blood vessels that supply your brain can prevent the necessary nutrients from reaching your brain cells. The outcome can be anything from lightheadedness to extreme fatigue or even fainting. It's crucial to understand that while these symptoms may seem fleeting and benign, they are a glaring red flag, a signal that your brain is not getting the oxygen it so desperately needs. The scariest part of all is how easy it is to dismiss these warning signs, especially among older adults. Often, we convince ourselves that these episodes are nothing more than a simple spell, something that will pass with time. But the truth is, ignoring these seemingly trivial signs can have devastating consequences. What might seem like a minor inconvenience today could be a precursor to a full-blown stroke tomorrow, with permanent, life-altering effects. The reality is that a TIA is not something to be taken lightly. It's a moment of crisis that could be the difference between preventing a major stroke or dealing with the aftermath of one. If you or a loved one experiences a sudden, unexplained loss of consciousness or an uncharacteristic feeling of intense drowsiness, don't wait to see if it passes. Don't tell yourself it's just a phase or something that will sort itself out. In that moment, when your body is sending you a clear message, it's vital to listen. Seek immediate medical attention. You may feel like you're overreacting, but in truth, seeking help could very well save a life. Maybe even your own. This isn't just a precaution, it's a lifeline. Your health, your brain, and your future are worth that moment of action. Number 8. Tingling sensations. Tingling sensations, often described as a pins and needles feeling, can be so easily dismissed, almost as if they're nothing more than a minor inconvenience. But in reality, these sensations, especially when they appear suddenly, could be signaling something far more serious, like a mini-stroke or TIA, transient ischemic attack. The feeling often strikes unexpectedly, and it tends to affect just one side of the body, an arm, a leg, or even the face. At first glance, it may seem trivial, almost too insignificant to worry about. Yet, it's important to realize that this seemingly harmless sensation could be telling you that blood flow to certain areas of your brain is being compromised, even if for only a brief moment. And in those moments, your health could be teetering on the edge of something much more dangerous. The challenge, of course, is that tingling can so easily be mistaken for something more common, like a pinched nerve, carpal tunnel syndrome, or even the result of having slept in an awkward position. It's easy to brush it off and move on with your day. But when it comes to a TIA, the cause is different. The tingling is not caused by physical compression of the nerves. Instead, it occurs due to a temporary blockage or reduction in blood supply to the nerves that control sensation. What sets tingling from a TIA apart is its sudden onset. It appears without warning, like a thief in the night. And often, it doesn't come alone. It's typically accompanied by other signs of distress: dizziness, blurred vision, slurred speech, or even weakness on one side of the body. This is why it's crucial not to ignore that sudden, unexplained tingling, particularly when it's localized to just one side of your body. It might feel like a small, fleeting discomfort, but don't make the mistake of brushing it off as something insignificant. It could be a red flag that something more serious is on the horizon. When your body gives you a warning, it's not the time to hesitate or wait and see if it will go away. Seek medical attention immediately. I can't emphasize enough how vital it is to take action early. The sooner you address the issue, the more likely it is that serious complications can be avoided. Your health is precious, and this could be the moment where your quick response makes all the difference in the world. Risk factors for many strokes in the elderly. The risk factors for strokes, especially in the elderly, are far more than just random occurrences. They are deeply intertwined with both underlying health conditions and lifestyle choices. As we age, our bodies become more vulnerable, and certain conditions can quietly set the stage for devastating events like strokes or mini-strokes, TIAs. High blood pressure is perhaps the most significant of these factors. It places constant, relentless pressure on the walls of our blood vessels, weakening them and making them more susceptible to blockages or narrowing. This ongoing strain, often unnoticed, can eventually lead to life-threatening consequences. Then there's diabetes, a silent yet insidious force that not only affects our ability to manage sugar levels but also wreaks havoc on the blood vessels that supply life-giving oxygen to our brains. Over time, the damage accumulates, drastically increasing the chances of a TIA or even a full-blown stroke. Atrial fibrillation, AFib, is another critical risk factor, a condition where the heart beats irregularly and sometimes erratically. This irregularity can cause blood to pool and form clots, which then have the dangerous potential to travel to the brain. These clots act like ticking time bombs, waiting to cause irreversible damage. And let's not forget other heart conditions, which also play a significant role in raising the risk of TIAs. When the heart isn't working as it should, the rest of the body suffers, including the brain, which is deprived of the vital blood flow it needs to function properly. Lifestyle choices, often within our control, have an equally profound impact on the risk of strokes in our later years. Smoking is one of the most destructive habits, silently poisoning our blood vessels and increasing the risk of clot formation. Each cigarette deepens the damage, creating more obstacles in our cardiovascular system. Obesity and a sedentary lifestyle further compound this danger, creating the perfect storm for stroke risk. The combination of poor eating habits, lack of exercise, and unhealthy weight creates a vicious cycle that not only contributes to strokes but also compromises overall well-being. When a TIA strikes, time becomes the enemy. It's so easy to overlook the initial warning signs, but acting fast can make the difference between life and death. The golden hour is not just a medical term. It's a window of opportunity where swift intervention can prevent long-term damage. The FAST method, face, arms, speech, time, should be ingrained in our minds. If you notice any sudden changes, don't wait. Time matters, and the sooner medical intervention happens, the greater the chances of minimizing the damage. With diagnostic tools like MRI, CT scans, and carotid ultrasounds, doctors can identify blockages or damage to blood vessels, allowing for immediate action to reduce stroke risk and potentially save a life. As I reflect on the importance of prevention and awareness, I can't help but feel a deep sense of urgency. Life can be fragile, especially in our later years, and many of these risk factors are preventable or manageable with the right lifestyle choices. It's not about living in fear, but rather living with the knowledge and the power to make decisions that can dramatically change the course of our health. I believe we owe it to ourselves and our loved ones to take these risks seriously and embrace the opportunities for better health. Treatment options and prevention strategies for mini strokes. If you've ever experienced a mini stroke or transient ischemic attack, TIA, or find yourself at risk of one, it's vital to take immediate action to protect yourself. The emotional weight of a mini-stroke can be overwhelming. It's a powerful reminder of how fragile our health can be, and it often leaves us with lingering thoughts of, what if? What if this was a warning sign of something more severe? The good news, however, is that there are treatment options and preventive strategies available that can make a world of difference in your journey toward recovery and long-term health. Medications are at the forefront of treatment. Doctors commonly prescribe antiplatelet drugs like aspirin, which can significantly reduce the risk of clots by preventing blood cells from clumping together. It's a small pill with a big impact, and for many, it becomes a lifeline. For people dealing with conditions such as atrial fibrillation, blood thinners or anticoagulants might be part of the treatment plan. These medications reduce the risk of blood clots forming in the heart and traveling to the brain, a critical step in reducing the risk of a full-blown stroke. However, medication alone is not enough. Lifestyle changes are just as crucial, and in many ways, they can be the most empowering part of the recovery process. The decision to adopt a heart-healthy diet, one that's rich in fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and healthy fats, can feel like taking control of your future. These changes not only lower cholesterol but also help reduce inflammation and improve vascular health, a direct line to protecting your brain and heart. I believe that it's not just about avoiding disease. It's about truly investing in a long, vibrant life. The mental shift from seeing food as fuel to seeing it as medicine is powerful. Exercise is another game changer. Even simple activities, like walking in the park, doing yoga, or stretching, can profoundly impact your health. It's about more than losing weight or fitting into your clothes. It's about feeling better in your own body. Regular physical activity helps lower blood pressure, improve circulation, and gives you the energy to face each day with optimism and vitality. It's a daily commitment, but it brings rewards beyond the physical. An emotional sense of accomplishment and well-being that's just as important. Equally important is the commitment to quitting smoking and reducing alcohol consumption. Both habits put a heavy strain on your cardiovascular system, increasing your stroke risk. The process of quitting is undoubtedly challenging, but it's a powerful act of self-care. And for those of us who may have struggled with these habits in the past, it's never too late to make the change. Every step away from smoking or excessive drinking is a victory, one that brings you closer to protecting not just your health but your peace of mind. Perhaps most crucial of all is managing underlying conditions such as hypertension, high cholesterol, and diabetes. These conditions often go hand in hand with an increased risk of stroke, but they're also manageable. Regular monitoring and keeping up with medications can be life-changing. It's an ongoing process that involves partnering with your healthcare provider, learning, adjusting, and maintaining control over your health. By doing so, you're not just preventing another TIA or stroke, but you're safeguarding your brain and heart for the long haul. Prevention, in my view, isn't just about avoiding disaster. It's about creating a life where your brain and body thrive. It's about embracing the idea that every small decision you make to protect your health contributes to a future full of possibilities. And ultimately, it's about peace of mind, knowing that you've done everything in your power to ensure a healthier, happier tomorrow. How families can support elderly loved ones. Supporting an elderly loved one who is at risk of or recovering from a mini-stroke or TIA, transient ischemic attack, requires more than just basic care. It demands a deep level of awareness, encouragement, and genuine compassion. Families are truly the unsung heroes in these situations, as they play a vital role in ensuring that their loved ones remain safe, healthy, and emotionally supported during a time of great vulnerability. The first step in this journey is recognizing the symptoms that your loved one might not fully be aware of, particularly when they may be reluctant to admit something is wrong. It's heartbreaking to think that many strokes, including mini-strokes, have subtle signs that could easily be overlooked or dismissed by the elderly, such as slurred speech, sudden confusion, or numbness in a limb. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 3 below to let me know that you are still here with me. These signs are easy to ignore or explain away, especially if your loved one doesn't fully understand the gravity of the situation. But as a family member, you must trust your instincts and be vigilant. You may be the first line of defense, and knowing the warning signs can quite literally be the difference between life and death. If you see anything even remotely unusual, don't hesitate to act. Don't let fear hold you back. Calling for emergency help may feel dramatic, but in reality, it could save them from further harm or irreversible damage. There's no room for doubt in moments like these. Your attentiveness could mean the world. Beyond the immediate emergency, you can continue to support your loved one by encouraging regular checkups with their healthcare provider. In many ways, these appointments become a lifeline, offering the opportunity to monitor key health indicators like blood pressure, cholesterol, and other risk factors that contribute to stroke risk. It's crucial to make these visits a priority, reminding them gently and with love that their health matters. In fact, why not make it a shared experience? Help them create new habits that promote long-term well-being. Cooking nutritious meals together isn't just about eating well. It's about bonding, creating memories, and reinforcing the notion that health is a shared responsibility. You could even join them for walks or other light exercises. These activities don't have to be burdensome. With your involvement, They can feel more like opportunities to reconnect and enjoy each other's company. Rather than pushing your loved one into these changes, try to make it feel as natural and enjoyable as possible. The journey toward better health doesn't have to be a lonely or overwhelming one. It can be filled with joy and mutual support. However, the emotional and logistical support you offer is just as essential as the physical help you provide. Recovery, especially after a medical scare like a stroke, can be deeply unsettling, not only for your loved one but for you as well. It's easy to feel helpless or uncertain about what to do next, but your presence is truly invaluable. Be there for them in every way you can, whether it's driving them to medical appointments, reminding them to take their medications, or simply offering a hand to hold when the fear feels overwhelming. Recovery can feel like a daunting and sometimes isolating process, but your patience and understanding can give them the courage to take the next step. You might not be able to cure the physical effects, but you can heal their spirit by offering reassurance, listening without judgment, and making them feel supported every step of the way. Remember, your emotional presence is often the most important gift you can give. It's not just about making sure they follow a treatment plan. It's about making sure they feel valued and loved through the highs and lows of the recovery process. Ultimately, the act of caring for an elderly loved one during a health scare is a deeply emotional experience. It's a time when your love, empathy, and patience are tested, but it's also a time that can strengthen bonds in ways you never expected. Your involvement in their care, both physically and emotionally, can make all the difference, helping them reclaim their sense of independence and giving them the confidence to face the future with strength. Through your support, they won't just survive. They'll thrive, knowing they have a family who truly cares. As we wrap up today's video, I hope you've gained some valuable insights into how we can all be a better support system for our elderly loved ones, especially during difficult times like recovering from a mini-stroke or TIA. From recognizing those subtle signs that could save lives to encouraging healthy habits and offering emotional support, the role families play is truly priceless. So, what have you learned so far? What's one thing you've picked up today that you'll apply in your own life, whether it's being more vigilant in noticing symptoms or spending more time creating healthy routines together? I'd love to hear from you. Please share one key takeaway in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave your comments, like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Your support means the world, and it helps us continue to bring you valuable content that can truly make a difference in your life. Take care, and we'll see you in the next video.